So if you noticed, we sent some emails out. We're having these sessions every Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. East Coast will be Monday. Then we'll have Central and West Coast on Wednesday and Friday. And we'll try to repeat that every week. Every week we'll be adding a different topic. You will see the subject of the message that we send, of the meeting invites. You should be able to see there what is the meeting that's gonna, that we're going to put together, what topic we're going to cover in ACM. By all means, join when you can. If you can't, again, these meetings will be recorded, so we'll have access to that. The objective of this is to provide you some more information on the access control, some very useful. So we're going to start with a very basic information on ACM, and it doesn't get any more basic than identities. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you guys to mute your phones if you could, please, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So we're going to talk about identity, and I'd like to talk about identity management. So how do I sell? And I posed this question. We did a little bit of this before. Getting feedback. Back here, let's see. Let's go ahead and mute some folks. All right, so I think it's better now. So how do we sell ACM identity as part of our system, right? And one of the options that we'd like to talk about is identity management. How do I manage identities in ACM, or identities integrated with other systems? So I want to cover a little bit of that. I have just a couple of slides to go through that, just to give an idea of the things that we can do. Then we're going to go ahead and jump into ACM, and I'm going to show you how the things we can do with identity management. So identity management basically is the ability that I have to manage all the aspects around that identity, around that person that is in my system. That being credentials, right? That could be my typical card, PIN numbers, my fingerprint scanner, hopefully in the near future, some face recognition / identification, right? Things like that. I can manage that into the access control. Maybe some certifications, right? So I can add, my employees could, they might need some certifications on, let's say I'm a crane operator, right? And you need to be certified. So I can track that in ACM today. So I can go there and add some of those certifications, some of those dates, and I can go and search on that and see who's certified or who's not certified. So you can keep track of those type of things. Asset management. So if I have equipment assigned to employees to a certain degree, I can also do that in ACM. I can go then and say, who has the master key of the building? Who has the first responder kit, or any other type of equipment? It's just a matter of creating those fields and adding that information into ACM. Okay. Also, some journals. I can go and write about what's happening in my day-to-day to keep track of the users, to keep track of the personnel in my system. I gave John again another credential today, man. So you can track those type of things. Okay. Here's a couple of other things that we can do with identity management, and this is more on the integration side, not just in ACM, but I'm integrating ACM with other systems, right? So in doing that, the benefit is I can streamline my employee management process. And this box that you see here at the bottom is a little bit of an example in the things the way this would work, right? So I could add an identity that is in Active Directory, right? That we're in Active Directory or SQL database. Well, let's talk about Active Directory specifically. In Active Directory, that identity residing in Active Directory will basically give you access to computer systems, right? Access to your email, log into the network, access to applications in your system. Now, when you integrate that with ACM, now also I can log in ACM using those credentials if I'm an operator. I can access doors based on the permissions that that person has in Active Directory. So we have customers that use this today. So you can go in Active Directory and add some permissions to that user, to that person in Active Directory, and that translates into ACM access to doors. Okay, so we can do things like that. And then syncing that with the video side, right? So now I can also say, I'm going to add a permission to this person in Active Directory, which will give them access to the access control application as an operator, and also will give them access to the video system as an operator, access to ACC. Keep in mind, I don't know if you notice here, I put this arrow here, a pretty large arrow there pointing, and this one is kind of skinny. Yeah, metaphorically, what I'm trying to say is that the scalability is not there right now when we come into access control connected to the ACC side. So we do have some performance issues. Operation-wise, works beautifully. When you set this up and you add or you modify, you give someone permissions in the Active Directory, those permissions will translate into the access control and into the video system. Works very nicely. The problem is scalability. Something that our engineering team is working right now on that. And the idea is to increase that scalability here so we can add more video systems and integrate more video systems with the access control. Okay, so hopefully next time this arrow here will be a little bit thicker like that one over there. I hope you get the idea there. So based on that, what is the ways or is the forms that I can add information into ACM or sync information between ACM and other sources, right? So here's some ideas for you. Active Directory, extremely popular right now. We have a lot of customers using that, and that is to send information from Active Directory to ACM. Okay, so what does that help the customer? Again, streamline the process. I can go in Active Directory, add someone. I can update, modify, delete, remove permissions, add permissions, and that information will sync and ACM will behave accordingly, right? So if I add someone new, that person is automatically added into ACM. If I disable that account in Active Directory, then the account in ACM is disabled, or the credentials, PIN numbers, fingerprint, any type of access, including access to the software, will be automatically disabled, right? So that is one of the big benefits. Same would go for Oracle. That would be for Oracle and SQL would be for an HR type of database, something that you're hosting information or something that you have stored information on that for the employees. So then you would go and use those type of sources to connect to ACM. Notice that the arrow is just pointing into ACM, so that means those sources, those different sources will send information into ACM. ACM does not have the ability by design to update Active Directory, Oracle, or SQL databases. Okay. Then there is CSV over here. So that's just text file. So we have the ability to send information into ACM in a text format. Also the ability to send information out of ACM in a text format. So this will be a bi-directional, we call collaboration. So this will be a bi-directional collaboration there. And then REST, this is for third-party systems where the end user wants to develop their own interface to interact with the access control, to send or receive information from different systems and integrate ACM. In this case, we're covering identity management into other applications. Okay, so what I want to cover you here, so this last slide, here's what we're going to cover. I'm going to show you the interface, the ACM interface, talk a little bit about the CSV import that I just explained here, some of these collaborations, some user fields, user lists that we utilize to enhance our capabilities and managing identities. And then we talk a little bit about bulk update. So, all right, let's go ahead and grab ACM here. Put ACM right here. So this is my ACM. So for some of you who haven't seen ACM before, I doubt it, but if you enter your username and password. No software installation of any kind. That's one of the big appeals about ACM, is that you do not have to install any application. You just open up a browser, and as long as you have the right permissions, you're going to go ahead and log in into ACM. Okay, so here's ACM. I'm going to go straight to the identities. That's what we're covering today. So here is identity management. So you just click in identities, and this screen comes up. So with this screen, I can do a great deal of searching. So I can search by first, by last name. Internal number here is their credential number, their badge. Okay, I can search by groups. So I have different groups in here. I can go in there and search by that. Or I can search by any field that I have in the system, including user-defined fields. So if you have a field that you created into in ACM because you controlling something and you don't have that field available by default, you can go in ACM and create your own user-defined field. You can enter data manually, or you can sync data from one of those sources that I showed you before in the previous slides, right? From Active Directory, Oracle, SQL, CSV. So I can import all that data in as well. Okay. Some of my sales guys on the access control have seen me doing this before, so I'm going to go ahead and select a field that I've created here called license plate. Again, this field does not exist by default in my system, but for some reason, let's say that this company monitors or has a license plate of all the cars of their employees. So you can go in there, type the license plate, and I can go ahead and hit search, and that brings the record up. Okay. Another way of doing this, I'm going to hit clear search here real quick. I can search for groups. So if I have added a group to identities, which is a great way of doing this, I can go ahead and search by groups. And here it is my, in this case, my Disney group. Okay. So why is this important? Well, because with this, once I group people, I can now manage them in bulk. So let's say, hey, I'm moving my entire accounting group from the 6th floor to the 3rd floor, and I want to bulk update their permissions, right? Access to doors. So I can go here very easily. Let's go to department. Let's say accounting, that'll do. Hit search. Here are my group. I have 8 people in my accounting department. So I can go ahead and update that using bulk update, which I'll cover in a second. So this is how you can search by people in ACM. And I can add criteria, right? So I can go in and add, hey, I want to search in the accounting department, and which in that, I want to see who belongs to the first responder team, let's say. Okay. And I want to do a yes. Hit search. And there's 2 people in the accounting department that also have the search, the first responder kit. So here it is, department. So I'm monitoring, I'm managing people in their location in the particular area of the company. And this one, first responder kit, I'm managing equipment assigned to the individuals. Okay. So then I locate the person. Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. This screen comes up. Yes, that is Donald Duck. I use that in my demo system here. Makes things a little bit fun and light. So first and last name is the only 2 fields that are mandatory in ACM when you manually adding an identity in ACM right here through this interface. Okay. Obviously, I would suggest that you add as many other items here as possible. The more data you add, the easier it will be for you to search for it, to group people, to apply settings, remove settings. Much easier way of doing it. Okay. So besides first and last name right there, we also have other fields. You see those drop downs. So these drop downs are completely definable by you. And it's just a matter of going in the list and updating that. And the way you do it is right here. It's actually quite simple. You go to user lists. Here's a little trick. I don't know if you guys know this or not. So most of you do, but if you right click in your mouse, You can go ahead and say, open this page in a different tab, so I don't get out of this page. And now I can just go to the other tab, just flipping back and forth. So here's identity, user-defined lists. I can come here and modify anyone I want. Let's say I want to modify department. Here's my department. That's my accounting right there. I can go in here and create another one. Just hit the add button and save, or I can go ahead and delete it. So I want to remove my RD department. They're no longer in this building, or they're no longer in the company. So I can go ahead and delete that and do other things in here, right? So if I want to add, is it the name that you should never use right there, and then just hit save, and you see that in the system. Okay, that's how you modify those lists, canceling that. Same goes for all these other ones in here. Status, site location. So I have some names. You can have, this is my building in east side of the city, or whatever the name is. You can go ahead and update those lists as well. This type of data also can be brought up by other data sources. So if you want to bring information from Active Directory, from Oracle or SQL database, or even CSV, sure thing, you can go ahead and do that. Okay. So that right there, employee, look at that, employee type. So I want to monitor who my contractors are, my employees, stamp, visitors. So you can, again, you can update these lists and use them as needed. Okay. Down over here, you have the usual contact information, right? Location, address, email address, phone number, and so on. Down over in this area is the login. So if this person happens to also be an operator, not just a card holder, but an operator of the system, I can go here and define their login. So as you can see, I have a local login defined to this person, but also I could have them syncing or remote authenticating against their Active Directory, right? So I have my Active Directory in there. At the moment it's not checked in because I want to show you all the options, but I can select that Active Directory, and then when this person logging in on the software using these credentials, ACM will send that to Active Directory. Active Directory will authenticate that and tell ACM, yep, Donald is okay, he can come in, and then ACM starts and opens for that operator. Okay. If we have partitions, that's where they're going to go and set a partition there for that user. And then up here, you have a bunch of more options, right? I'm going to cover some of this very quickly, the ones that we use the most, so you have an idea. Roles is pretty easy. This is, hey, I want to give someone permission to access certain doors, certain areas. This is where I go to do that. This list that you see here could also be limited by that operator. I have an operator that manages my building B. That operator will only see items related to that facility, right? Or doors located just that facility. My operator building A will only see application or only see permissions or roles for that building A. Now, the supervisor that manages sites, buildings A and B will see both. Okay, so that's all definable. I can come over here and just say, hey, I want to give Donald here access to elevator 6th floor. So just go ahead and do that, hit save, and that's pretty much it. Okay, it's that simple. ACM, compared to the other access controls, guys, is extremely simple to operate this type of things. So let's take a look at tokens, credentials, badges, the little piece of plastic that magically open doors, right? So right here, Donald is a mess. He's got a whole bunch of credentials, right? So you can limit that or not. So you can say operators, card holders can only have one active badge, or I can let them have as many badges as they need. So this is the credentials. I can go and add a new token. So we call that tokens. Go ahead and click on that. I can add a standard token, a standard badge by entering a badge number right over here. Okay. Or if in this case, I have my system connected to the Verdi biometric reader. So we have that integrated in ACM. So I can go ahead and click on Verdi. This will auto-generate a ID for that person. Once I hit this save and enroll, this brings up this application where I can just go ahead and enroll the fingerprints. I'm going to go ahead and click in fingerprint there. And let's say I'm going to use that. Okay, go ahead and present the fingerprint to the scanner, which my scanner is not working right now. That's awesome. But that's the idea. So you would put your fingerprint here, the image will come up. If you greater than 50%, then the fingerprint will go ahead and scan it. Okay, and this will generate a fingerprint, and that fingerprint then is sent automatically to the scanners out there in a field. Okay, all right. That's tokens. Okay, a couple other things in here. I can have those tokens expire a certain time. I can pre-enter the token. So this employee is going to start next week. I can pre-register and say not yet active. So the activation date will be next week, but I can enroll the person now. So there's a bunch of different options that we can have in here. Okay, groups is right there. That's the next item there. So I can go ahead and add someone to a group or multiple groups. I can enter photos. So if I have a webcam connected to the system, I can go ahead and use that camera, or I can use an IP camera, or if I'm out in the field, I can log in using my tablet or my smartphone in ACM, go to the screen and just use the onboard camera of that device, take a picture. Once I have the picture loaded in here, I can click on that picture, and here I can go ahead and manipulate it, crop it, reduce the size, change aspect ratio, do all that fun stuff. Okay, so that's the picture there. And then there is badge here. So badge is where I'm going to print the badge. So I can have different types of badges. Something like this has dual side with some different type of numbers. So you can do all that good stuff. Okay, once I have that, then I can go ahead and print a badge. Any badge printer connected to ACM will go ahead and print that badge. Bunch of other things in here, but let me go ahead and just jump into some of the user-defined fields. So these tabs that you see over here at the end, I've created them for my system. So I can create multiple tabs, and each one of those tabs, I can create multiple fields. So that's where the license plate is coming from. And now that I have these fields created, I can link this to an Active Directory, a SQL database, and populate the information directly from other systems. Okay, so that's just an example of the type of fields that we can create. So that's my first responder kit right there. He also got a master key assigned. This is where I can go and create a journal with a bunch of dates. I can put dates in there and put information that I need. I can track certifications in here. Okay, so Donald is certified, is a CPR certified until the end of October of this year. Great. And he's a crane operator until the end of December. So I can go here and search for those and say, show me who is certified until December of this year, and it'll pull the records up. Okay, so that's how we go about that. So how this information is populated, right? So I keep saying, oh, I can manage this, I can add information from other sources. So if I go over here into collaborations, I'll show you Active Directory. It's an easy one. So I can connect to an Active Directory server right there. And once I have that, I literally can go ahead and just map the fields. It's very easy to do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you how this actually works in a system where I have that configured. Okay, so that's the actual configuration of the system, username and password, and then here's the mapping. So IT guys absolutely love this because it gives them the freedom to pick whatever table, whatever users, or whatever information they want and add and just map that into ACM. And from that point on, we can go ahead and bring the users. I can bring their pictures. So we call blobs pictures. I can bring user-defined fields. So that's my car right there, license plate, right? So let's say that I have those fields in Active Directory. I can bring the information into ACM. And on the rows is I want to bring all the rows, in my case here, that starts with the AVO and bring that directly to ACM. So whenever I change a user permission and Active Directory, depending which permission, depending which groups I'm adding or removing from that person, that will translate to access to doors, being an operator in ACM, and operator in the video system as well. Okay, so I can add and remove permissions to the video system by modifying an Active Directory, passing through access control, and going into the video system into ACC. Okay, so that's basically how we do those things. Okay, switching back to my normal system. All right, so then that is Active Directory. SQL does exactly no much different. It's the same way. You just map the fields against the table. For the CSV, this is how the information is sent out. So we can export our entire identity management, including all my user-defined fields. Sorry. So right here is someone's license plate right there in the field. That is other information there. And also all the basic information is set here. Here's the roles that this person has, or you can assign roles directly here. So this is an export. So I got this file. If a customer wants to import information, we can also provide them with a template. And this template here has set of data, has one record in there showing them how the information needs to be added. So they can have a completely separate system with a database that is maybe legacy, not compatible with something. We can go ahead and ask them to export the database to a CSV format, put in this format over here, and then just go ahead and import it all into ACM. Okay, important to know, records that are entered manually in ACM are not necessarily affected by the import of Active Directory, SQL, Oracle, and things like that. Okay. You can have multiple collaborations, by the way. So if you have Active Directory, again, SQL, Oracle, other data sources, and you want to bring a piece of information from each one, as long as we have the same unique identifier, no problem at all. We can go ahead and do that. Okay. A couple other things that are very user-friendly, very handy in ACM is our ability to bulk update things. So I can go here into my identity. So let's take a look again. I'm going to go ahead and pull Donald again and see. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and move the Disney team. So here, let me do this. I'm going to pull the Disney group. So let's go ahead and clear search. Pull this Disney group here, and I'm going to search for them. And let's say that they're going to move to a different location, and I want to update that into their system. So let's say they are going from west, my site west, and they're going to the site on the east side. Okay. I'm going to go here to profiles, and I can very quickly just create a profile. And this is how simple this is. I'm going to call this moving to east site. Go here to this site location. That's what I want to change. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to change that to east. Okay. I'm going to hit save. And I could also go into the roles and change the roles as well, right? So I could say, hey, part of that east, I'm going to go ahead and give them access to the east side location or something like that, right? So I can pick an item there and just move there. Let's say that site B there. I'm going to go ahead and give them access to all that. Hit save. And now I can go back here to profile, pick that, what I've just created, okay? And move into site east right there, east site. Click this batch update, and now go select the group. Because I already have my Disney group created, is this easy. Just click on that, and I can just go ahead and hit OK. This is a batch process. If you have more than 10 items, takes a minute to process, so it schedules to process. Conveniently, I have 9 items, so I have just updated that. So I'm going to go ahead here and pick Donald. He was in the west side. Now he's in east, right there. And if I go here to rows, now he's got that building B row as well. Okay. That's how simple it is to do this type of thing in ACM. So again, the whole idea about managing these identities is that I can have multiple sources bringing information in, providing information to ACM. Using REST API, I can send information out, or CSV, I can send information out to update other systems. And I can manipulate information and add information into the system if I need it. Okay, just to give a kind of an example here, what we can do. We just put together a little, I'm going to go ahead and clear this, a little tool that allow me to send commands. So put this tool together that allow me to send commands into ACM from an external system. So I can just go here, send a command, and this will put a command from. So this is imagine this is being a third-party application. So let me put this back here. So this is a third-party application that is sending commands into ACM. In this case, to grant access front door to Mickey Mouse. Okay, just gives you an idea that ACM is very flexible when it comes to that. So customers can integrate other systems to connect to ACM, send information to ACM, or have ACM sending information out, right? Okay, so identities, let's see here, we got a little bit more time. Basically, I can, again, search all this information here. Let me push this out of the way. There you go. Now it's better. I can have thousands of records in ACM. We can do up to 500,000 records per server. We can add multiple servers and replicate between servers. And we, again, multiple sources bringing information into ACM to update the identities. Okay. Let's see here. I think we can open up for questions if anyone has any questions. Or you can type in the chat. Let's see if I can pull that up here.
Francisco, this is Tony.
Tony.
So I have a question for you, being kind of the rookie in access control in our group. Can you maybe share with everyone, and I know we've got Bill and Jared and Rob on the call, as well as a number of the other ACM team members have experience with other access control solutions. I think I know the answer, but I'd like to hear it from you guys that have the experience. As far as identity management compared to other access control solutions, ACM has some pretty meaningful advantages in the way that we organize the data. Is this correct?
I think it's different from other people, so I'll give you, yeah, so let me put it this way. The way there's a couple of things around that. The way we integrate with other systems like Active Directory to bring data in, yes, we are extremely simple to do that. Every time I show this to, I'm sorry, I got a sore throat. Hopefully it's nothing else, right? So,
yes.
So the way we do this in Active Directory, the way we link this to Active Directory, SQL, Oracle, like the way we can go and grab information, bring into ACM, yes. When we show this to IT personnel, they love it because it is truly simple to configure and maintain. It works very well. Okay. Other systems have different approaches, especially for identity management. They have different features. They have different ways of managing that data. Okay. For example, ACM has only one database. So here, if I go here, here's my famous Donald Duck, right? This is one record of this person. So this person could be a card holder, simple card holder, or it could be a card holder plus an operator. And all I have to do in this same record, all I have to do is just give them a username and password with the proper permissions to access the software, right? Other systems, especially the ones that I work with some pretty large ones, they will have two databases, one for card holders, one for operators. So now think about that. So now when I'm adding someone, I'll have to add that person to the card holder, and if that person happens to be an operator, I have to also go to the operator database and add that person in there. If that person is leaving the company, now I gotta go and touch two places. Okay, ACM is one. And if I'm integrated again with Active Directory, SQL, Oracle databases, I can go in those data sources and say, especially in Active Directory, this account is disabled. As soon as you do that, and ACM runs the schedule sync, this operator here will lose, the account will be deactivated. As soon as you deactivate the account, now all their permissions, badges, credentials, PIN numbers, fingerprint, access to the software is all revoked at the same time. Okay, I think, in my view, that is probably one of the biggest differences in other systems out there, is that the way we manage the identity seems to be more streamlined.
Well, I do know that, one of the things we refer to ACM as is a convergence platform, and I do not understand that is because all of our databases, identities, configurations, it's all on board. We're not running an external database of any sort unless we're going to pull from those identity sources that you covered earlier, like Active Directory.
Right. Yeah. So, and I keep saying Active Directory because it's very popular right now. I mean, with our system, customers love to use this. And by the way, our own database is LDAP, our identity database. It's the same database that Active Directory utilizes. So we talk the same language behind the scenes, right? So it's very efficient and, again, extremely simple to configure. When I show them how this is configured, it's just, they absolutely love it, right? But yeah, for those data sources, I think we do pretty well. There's other features, no doubt. There is other capabilities in other systems that we don't have. Oh, you better believe it. Okay, there is a whole lot of different things that they can do. But I think that what we do very well, and we should be very proud of what we can accomplish with this.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you compare today, I'm talking about companies, at least ones that I used to work for, have at least 15 years leg up on us in the market. And where we are today, we can always say, oh man, I wish it, yes, me too, trust me, I wish it did this, it did that, and did the other. But at the end of the day, what this thing does, I think it does well, and most important, in a very simple way for the end user. Guys, I can tell you time and time again, when we go out in the field, and this, a little bit in the past, we used to replace systems, and I participated in a few where we went in and replaced an existing system with ACM. When we show the end user how ACM worked, they couldn't believe how simple it was. So no doubt there. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Francisco?
Yes.
On the identity management, right now, Active Directory is on-prem only, or can we also, is there any plans, or has anybody been able to successfully do it through the cloud, through Azure?
Funny you asking this, because I'm actually working with someone on that right now. We're trying to do so. In essence, right now, can we do it? Yes, we can, but we need a staging area, meaning they can go in Azure and create an export to to SQL, let's say a SQL database, for example, because it will be cheap and it was no cost. You can just go and get a SQL Express database. We don't need much. And we can go from Azure, tell Azure to export that to a SQL database. And then we can go and tell ACM, go to that same SQL database and pull the data. So right now we're trying to see if that, that's one way of doing it, but can we directly connect to it? That's, something that we need to look into. It's not there yet. Okay, again, that is a way of doing it with a staging area right now, adding let's say a SQL database to pull the data from.
And based on that, would that be something that we would want to refer the partner or the end user to a third-party company that could actually help write that SQL collaboration, or is there a canned one that we can push out? Because my understanding is Active Directory is Simple Simon. Anybody can almost do it. When you go to either SQL or to Oracle, you better have some skill sets behind you.
Depends. So I'll show you here real quick. Let's see if I can show you here. It really depends on what you're trying to do. The interface is the same. So here is the LDAP one. You're basically mapping the fields. I don't know, man. I think the SQL is even easier because the SQL is a drop down. So you can actually click a drop down and select the field from that table. Okay. So let me go back here, see if I might have one here. I think when you're doing the SQL collaboration, the database is not there, but it's somewhat simpler because it will be a drop down. Okay, so you can map the fields using a drop down. So I'll select the table in that SQL database that I want to use, and from that table, then I can go ahead and link the field. You're not seeing here, obviously, but you can link the fields that are there. So look, the interface is not different. Is the same way. Is this newer systems like Azure and other systems out there that are coming to play that we need to start to adapt to, right? So right now, I would say let's call it a workaround would be go in Azure, create a SQL export, so export your items into a table. I was reading a little bit about that, so it's doable. So they can export to a SQL table, and now we can go into ACM and say, hey, go look in that table and bring the information in. Okay. Did I answer?
Yes, you did.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, Eric, thanks for your question there. Let me show you. So Eric's asking, hey, when you did that bulk update, did you remove the existing row that person had? No, I did not. It's right there. I can, though, if I want to, right? So I can go here in Profile, and I can pick that same profile right there, go into rows right here, and I can say I want to add some and I want to remove. So let's say I want to remove that 24-hour. So let's go ahead and pick this one here. I'm going to click that and remove. Okay. This is already there, so it's not going to add it again. It's just going to remove the 24/7. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Just to confirm, I'm going to go back to Donald, take a look in his row, and he should have, yeah, that's the 24/7 right there. Okay. So if I go run that again, oops, not here, here, and go to Disney, run it. Okay. Let's go back to Donald now. You should only have one. Right there. Okay. So I just removed that 24 hours access. I just remove this one here. Okay. Cool. Any other questions? Oh, you're welcome, Eric. So again, guys, this is very easy, very flexible. I think the integration with the video system is in its infancy, right? So I think we can explore way more things with this. So give it as example, right? Today, we can read license plates kind of nicely, don't we? Right? So we can do those type of things. I use this in my demo system here, and picks up license plates in front of my in front of my house here very nicely. Does a very good job. Now that I have the license plate in ACC, why can't I just use that as a log, as a badge or access to that gate on the parking lot? So let's say that's a low security area, right? So that's an area where someone can just go underneath the gate barrier and walk into my parking lot, right? So things like that, as we start to integrate more the system, I think we're going to take a way more advantage of what we can do in identity management and integration and exchanging information between the two systems. Okay. Any other questions before we close? All right. Folks, thanks for coming. Well, again, we'll make this available. We're going to put a link into, send an email with a link to you. You're welcome, Ali. We'll send a link to you with a location for the folder, and we'll start to post all this lunch and learns in there. So if you don't have a chance to catch up, then you can watch there, right? So don't just remember, we have another one this Wednesday. I think is Rob. Rob, you online? Rob's there? No? Okay. So yeah, we have another one this Wednesday, and I think Rob's covering is a noon Central time. Don't forget that, noon Central, okay? And Friday will be noon Pacific Coast. So that covers a little bit on, in each side. All right. Hope to see you guys on Wednesday. Thanks for coming. You all have a great day.
Thanks, Francisco.
Absolutely a pleasure.